What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Cream Reviews. And on today's show, you're going to get my Money in the Bank 2024 recap, results, and review. Was it a good show or was it a bad show? Let's check it out. We kicked off the night with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. The participants were Jey Uso, Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, LA Knight, Chad Gable, and Drew McIntyre. This wasn't a very long match. This was, wasn't the greatest Money in the Bank I've ever seen, but it had some good spots in it. The MVPs were definitely Chad Gable or Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo because he was just putting his body on the line, man. He was taking bumps all over the place. It was crazy. Chad Gable had the most memorable spots. He German suplexed a ladder onto one of the participants, so that was pretty dope, something I'd never seen before. And then he had this hanging spot there at the end when he went for the briefcase, that he was just hanging there. And he took a nasty fall. It was gross. But in the end, just some standard stuff. Nothing, all these guys, they're good wrestlers. Carmelo Hayes took this gnarly sunset flip powerbomb from Andrade off the top of the ladder through another ladder. And that pretty much took them out for the rest of the match. So it ended when Jey Uso was going up for the briefcase. You thought that he had it. He was the last one and he was going up. But no, Drew McIntyre comes out of nowhere, gets rid of Jey, and claims the briefcase for himself. Look, you want to be on camera? Say hi.
Hi.
Hey. So yeah, Drew McIntyre ended up winning this match. I thought that maybe Jey Uso was going to come up with it because he was on the graphic. I expected it, and I expected CM Punk to screw over Drew McIntyre, but that didn't happen until later on. Spoilers. I give this match 3 stars out of 5. It wasn't anything crazy. Like I said, it wasn't the best Money in the Bank match that I've ever seen. Just some standard stuff, but it was good, and it leads into later on. Stay tuned. Next we had the Intercontinental Championship match where Sami Zayn successfully retained his title against Braun Breaker. I love this match. This was a great story that they were telling. They made Braun Breaker look like $1 million even in defeat, which is what I knew they would do, but Sami would somehow hold on. How long are they going to be able to call Sami Zayn the underdog when he just keeps winning these matches against these seemingly impossible opponents? But it was good. Braun hit a bunch of stuff. They made a callback to Raw where Sami leapfrogged Braun's spear on the outside. And yeah, it was all good stuff. Sami wins after avoiding a spear with a knee or a boot to the face. And then he hit a haluva kick. One haluva kick did it. Sami Zayn retains the Intercontinental Championship. Where does he go from here? I'm not too sure, but I give this match 3.5 stars out of 5. If I gave quarter stars, maybe I would go higher, but we only do wholes and halves here at Cream Reviews. So 3.5 for these guys, but it was very solid, great storytelling, and it was a good match. Next up, due to the magic of editing, we have seamlessly changed locations, and we're going to talk about some talky bits next. Trish Stratus came out. She was the host of Money in the Bank 2024 because it was from Toronto, and she's a Toronto native and a WWE Hall of Famer. She says a bunch of stuff, and she introduces, who else but John Cena. So here comes John Cena. He comes out to the ring, and his towel says, "This is the last time," or something like that. But Cena pretty much comes out and says that he's retiring at the end of 2025. He said the Royal Rumble 2025 and WrestleMania 2025 would be his last. Pretty much, he clarified a bunch of stuff at the press conference afterwards, so WrestleMania will not be his last match. He will have a bunch of appearances all year long next year, so good for Cena. Sad to see him go, but good for him. Next up, oh boy, do we have to talk about this. It's the World Heavyweight Championship match as Seth Rollins challenged Damian Priest. And I gotta tell you this, I have heard lots of praise for this match, but I was just not into it. It was very sloppy, and I don't know if that's the story that they were trying to tell, but I don't feel like they had to, because they had the best story going into it. If Seth lost, he would no longer be able to challenge for the title as long as Priest is champion, and if Priest lost, he would be out of Judgment Day. But after the sloppiness, there's a spot towards the end, I say the end of the singles match, foreshadowing. Seth goes for his top rope suplex into a Falcon Arrow, and after a couple counters, Seth officially does hit his Falcon Arrow for the 1-2, and it was supposed to be a kick out, but Damian Priest didn't kick out. Yeah, so that was pretty bad. I don't know if it was a production botch or Drew McIntyre's music was supposed to hit, because right after this, Drew McIntyre comes down to the ring and cashes in his Money in the Bank briefcase, making it a triple threat match. So now we have Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the world title. And I don't know if it was just a bad day at the office. I don't know if Seth Rollins has some kind of ring rust because he's been off for several weeks or several months. I don't know. Damian Priest just had a bad night. There was just sloppiness all over this. Drew went for a Claymore, and Priest kind of took it in the chest and didn't really sell it real good. So it got better, though, when CM Punk came down and viciously assaulted McIntyre with a steel chair outside the ring. Remember, it was a triple threat match, so there's no disqualification. So CM Punk comes down, he gets his pound of flesh, which I thought he was going to interfere in the ladder match, but he waited for Drew to win, to cash in, to get his revenge. But that made the match better, but I don't know, I wasn't into this. The story was very sloppy. They could have had so much going here. Seth and Damian Priest had the best story going into the pay-per-view as far as I was concerned, but so after Punk beats up Drew, he rolls back in the ring. Damian Priest hits him with the South to Heaven chokeslam, and he gets the 1-2-3, and he retains his World Heavyweight Championship. And after the match, Seth Rollins and CM Punk had words with each other, because CM Punk did not only screw Drew McIntyre, but he also screwed Seth Rollins, because he can't challenge for the title now until Damian Priest loses it, which I think will be the next pay-per-view, because it's official. They even showed the graphic. Gunther versus Damian Priest will be the SummerSlam match. So I give this match 2 stars. I went back and I watched it because I thought that I wasn't being very kind to it. I thought I was just being a hater, but no, it just wasn't a very good match. And I'm sorry, these two guys, they're great. Seth Rollins is great. Damian Priest is great, but if it wasn't for the cash-in stuff, this just would have been a throwaway match, and I was talking about it maybe being the main event. But yeah, 2 stars, that's as high as I'll go, mostly on the merit of CM Punk coming down and ruining McIntyre's cash-in. But next up, on a much better note, we had the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and this thing was ugly, but in the greatest possible way. These competitors, the competitors were Tiffany Stratton, Zoe Stark, Io Sky, Chelsea Green, Naomi, and Lyra Valkyria, and they tore the house down. This was definitely match of the night. Believe me, it was so great. It was like a car crash, but for there's type of people that watch NASCAR just for the crashes. This was for them, and this was great. So much craziness, too much to go over. Tiffany Stratton got the win here, as predicted. She was the favorite going in, and I think her story coming out of it is much more interesting than any other story that they could have gone with. But the match ended. Tiffany and Chelsea Green were the last two standing in the ring, and they were on 2 separate ladders, and Tiffany throws Chelsea throws her ladder off to the side of the ring, and she goes flying out of the ring through 2 tables that they had set up midway through the match. They actually formed an alliance to get to that point. So, This was match of the night. Fantastic. If you had to go back and watch one match from this pay-per-view, this was it. I give the women here 4 stars out of 5. Fantastic performance. The right person won. And yeah, it was just good stuff. Now we're on to main event time. It was the WWE Undisputed Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, his friends Kevin Owens and Randall Keith Orton versus the New Bloodline. And I was wrong here about Solo Sikoa sitting out the match. He was front and center. Truly the tribal chief, but not my tribal chief. Yeah, it was Solo and Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga in this one, and Tonga Loa was on the outside. Standard 6-man. Great action here, though. Pretty much the story boiled down to Cody wanted to get in the ring with Solo because Solo had been leaving him laying, and the bloodline has really been a thorn in Cody Rhodes' side here as of late. But there was good action. You know, these guys, they're all, at least a face team, you know, they're all championship caliber guys. Randy Orton, I swear, got a bigger pop than Cody tonight, but you know, that's what you get when you're on legendary status. There was some shenanigans here. It wasn't a clean victory for the Bloodline. The Bloodline did go over. Solo got the pin on Cody Rhodes, but not before there was a ref bump and then another ref bump. So initially the ref went out of the ring so the Bloodline could cheat, and then the ref ended up getting hit again on the outside, so Tonga Loa could get involved formally. Kevin Owens was going for a package pile driver at the end of the match on Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa got in there and he hit 2 low blows. The first one, I guess Kevin Owens didn't register to go down, but that was a pretty funny moment in the match. It wasn't near as bad as the Damian Priest not kicking out the Falcon Arrow. It actually brought some levity to this otherwise gruesome, you know, really hostile style match. But yeah, that's how they got the advantage. And then Cody and Solo ended up being the legal men, and with a little help from Jacob Fatu, Solo hit the Samoan Spike on Cody Rhodes, and then they threw the referee back in and he counted to 3. The Bloodline win here. Judging by this being the main event, you know, as a fan, you would think that there would be a big return at the end, you know, maybe a Roman Reigns, maybe a Jimmy Uso, you know, to get his revenge for getting kicked out of the Bloodline, but no, just standard stuff. Cody eats the pin, and we're setting up the title match at SummerSlam. The new head of the table, Solo Sikoa, trying to reclaim the title that he feels like belongs to his family. But this was a good match. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I wouldn't put it on the same 3.5 star pedestal as Sammy and Braun Breaker, but I still thought it was good stuff. It told a good story, and it was a good way to end. Just a couple quick things before I sign off here that I missed. Number 1, Braun Breaker has new theme music. It is much improved. Number 2, the MVPs of the women's Money in the Bank match were Zoe Stark and Io Sky. Both took amazingly crazy bumps. Like I said, women's match of the night. And number 3, Jacob Fatu definitely had a great debut. He was definitely the MVP of the 6-man tag. But that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you thought about Money in the Bank 2024 down in the comments. What would you give the grades? What would your star ratings be? Let me know. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe to Cream Reviews. But until next time, this is Cream coming to you from a remote location. We'll see you next time.